on the way. And my wife's like, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, dear.
So we're gonna fall, see what we can do maybe in the shoulder season.
Like I say, even if you want to set it up for next school year, because the summertime, kids go and shrinks it.
Oh, gotcha.
Parents do it as much. So
Yeah, so we're gonna revisit that. I'll talk to Tyler about it.
we'll get more numbers. But do the little extra driving, thing.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
See ya.
I'll be guilty of fair trial.
Well, trying to. There was a guy that did the trial about 2 weeks ago, and he was found not guilty. But what the jury doesn't get to hear is how he tried. He had pled guilty 3 times, and
Right.
the judge rejected the plea. And they're like, we think he probably did it, but beyond a reasonable doubt, which is what I have to prove. It's like it says right in there, probably is not enough. And because it has to be a standard that's more than probably. So it's like tough one to lose. Like somebody died.
Cool.
It's like an OWI causing death. But
Really?
so if I have to get up, and it's because my wife's going to be in labor. Today's the due date. So I'm here because we haven't had anything yet. But
So if you go running, we'll just clap on your way out.
yeah.
We'll slam that gavel down. We'll see you next month. We're having a
Throwing
meeting.
cigars into the crowd.
None of this is as important as that.
Nothing.
We'll slam that gavel.
That is a fact.
So
How are you?
Ridiculous things.
Good.
about so you have chicken.
Yeah.
And I was always like a Hummer. And my car was parked over there, the FJ Cruiser.
I love
You know,
those.
yeah.
I thought about that when we bought the Jeep.
I always wanted a Hummer, and then like years ago, my dad's like, "Well, what about that car? That kind of looks like a Hummer." And I was like, "Yeah," and I'm like, and I do research. I'm like, "Oh, it's a Toyota. It's like a Toyota version of a Jeep." And then I
The
found
Toyota,
yeah, and I found that Army green one. And I was like, "Oh,
and it's a Toyota.
They were
Run forever.
just came out with that line. Cruiser had been a long time that they had produced those. And right when I was getting by that,
Did
so I really did.
what? Because I don't follow it.
So I
What did we find out about any of that stuff?
okay,
the 20.
It's
Still in process.
nothing's going
yeah."
That's still
Had a long
a
time.
whole bunch of monkey.
That's how you
A mumbo jumbo.
fire that.
So that's
By the time they get to a final, it's all going to be completely rewritten 18 times, and nobody will
Yeah, put a little bit of
or as usual.
up with maintenance. So honestly,
Yeah, no,
10,000.
we're still in the who knows stage.
Yeah,
That's for shit last week.
yeah.
I'm guessing that your cruiser's going to be.
Yeah, I wish I would have had like I was like just so I was like really looking for parts. I wish I would have had like a mechanic look at it because they probably would have been like, if anything, it could have probably saved me a few $1,000.
Oh, wow.
It's like it's like a some yeah. So somebody had like done some like work of their own on the on under the hood, and it probably could have just saved me maybe a couple $1,000. And then it's like you do feel even better about it. Like there hasn't been any major issues, but like
it all started.
yeah, but it's like it's a 2014. It's got I bought it at 60,000 miles. It's only got
Some extra green
Talk
space.
Rich is going to be able to
67,000 miles now. So it's like I've had it for almost 5 years. So it's like
For 700.
yeah. So I don't put.
Side there.
Well, and actually, at one point, I was probably only putting 8,000
From the state for the
miles a year on it. Yeah, but then it's like could throw in some longer trips in there. But,
That's a comfortable car to take along the Jeep. I don't like it.
well, but the only thing is that back seat. It's like so that it's a comfortable car for like 2 adults and then like kids. But like cars, but
I said it.
getting one in there Well, getting one into that car like that.
I didn't.
So
Okay. Yeah, but
that that might prompt me. Well, and I might just be like, maybe I should. If I can get like a nice back row, like
Give it a
front
chance.
row.
first cut is going to come here in the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Well, that's exciting. 30 minutes, literally. Do today.
But I don't know.
So they got the
Like I was thinking,
new pieces in
they
it.
might have come earlier this week.
Mulch down.
So, for some reason, I think the
Haven't been by.
often,
Yeah,
Yeah, we're early
from what I remember
Yeah.
people saying. So,
sunset once they had
Yeah.
I might be off.
other use.
no, like that's
I really
that's what I've heard too. But then it's like everybody's got a different story. Like some woman told me a while ago, oh, my first one came 6 weeks early, and it's like, yeah, and it, like that was about a month. And I was
it's a
like,
boy or it's a girl. Something.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Oh yeah, this is.
I mean, it's not like we haven't. We're switching gears. Have to get a township.
Yeah.
Did you get that email from
Brian?
Ryan? Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm gonna wait a couple more minutes. Give him some time. Then we can do the regular joke when he walks in. We all stand up and look like we're leaving.
And we're thank you. Very good. Actually, I have a question for him. My wife had a tax question. I'm like, I know just the guy.
Yep.
Because I guess they got rid of home. They got rid of mortgage exemption, but they still have homestead exemption.
how's it
So,
going, Toby?
Oh, it's going fine.
what's the
Yourself?
what do
I heard you got some more. I already heard that part.
he's wanting? I need to find out if there's tax. Those tax rates. What it's going to
Little, I don't even know if they're
a couple grand on it or something.
right where it is.
Right.
Shit.
So he's got to know, right?
When's the next full moon?
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
know those things. I know those things.
Right.
but you have to tell that.
Yes.
Actually do the
Correct.
Surprised with all the rain.
Mortgage exemption.
That,
Well,
that's supposed to be kicking it in.
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
especially like that bad.
My skill
Like,
knowledge. But hey, we know a guy.
Yeah.
yeah, we do. That's what I told
we
you.
lost power
Oh,
over 2 days.
You were one of the wind crew.
It's a good idea, Jay.
Yeah.
We got it Tuesday.
Yeah, when they brought that,
So,
I'm like, you know what?
We lost. Yeah, so like,
I think it's gonna
but that was like
Would that be on one of the?
old. Like in our house is like
should be on one that we pull with the tractor.
Yeah.
We would make
we had to
meet the animals wagon ride,
Make-
field trip wagon.
Yeah.
throw out quite a bit of
Pick
stuff
up wheelchairs.
from the
Great idea.
like fridge.
And how does it get attached to the wagon?
Like,
bolted down, it's
ground.
well ways.
Matter looking at how we bring it.
Okay.
Because there's one in Lake County
My
that,
Oh, okay.
that has one.
my
How many wagons do
flickered
So we own two, and then
in
borrow a couple.
5 seconds.
Two from Nippo. Then we have a
I was
Yeah.
set that it.
But I think
What do you
the
think? Do it to one?
of-
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
don't have to do it to one, right?
Yeah.
we just
Now I have to not to beat the time. But
Yeah.
put the time back in, and then
No.
We need
Well, you
more.
never,
Don't get another.
yeah. Well, you never know though too, because if you
so
that's one of those things, right? You
build
build
it,
it, they will come.
golf.
Yeah, and they're like, well, our kid can actually get on this ride. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So
Then we buy it.
Probably a
He's-
custom
He's out of the window.
writing things.
Sister and
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to do.
and it was
Yeah.
the end of
but yeah, maybe
It's
they.
a big deal.
It is a big.
Yeah, because like power line
Yeah.
down.
Yep.
yeah.
I think
with mobility issues,
that like I'm right. I live by like
it can be kind of difficult to get up
Him.
to those wagons.
Dale.
Yeah, you don't have to be
That back
That's really
Yeah, yeah.
pretty hard, and like
You
so I was
can do it.
looking out my front window
good thinking.
when like the worst part of the storm hit, and I'm just on like
I think that particular model,
like a house is right across the street from
1,000,
me, and it's not.
a little under
We're
9.
close to the.
Yes.
it's pretty.
Yeah, 7260.
I couldn't even see the house
Okay.
across the street
7 grand.
They had,
because of the.
there were other ones, but that one is.
I don't know what it was like.
It's
Rain,
heavy duty.
wind,
They have small.
loud, or like
You're going to do it.
I don't want
Everybody
it almost looked, but it was like it could have been
Very sturdy.
something like
Yeah,
that.
that's
But it's like
pretty
you couldn't even see 100 feet away, and all you
What's our timing for our
white.
place set?
Like okay, this is
Animal.
bad. And the lights went off
I
instantly.
followed up with
We-
the company this week.
Our next door neighbor had a
and then
tree
in
down
the assembly,
on
and it should be en route after that.
line, which I know that was
Soon,
back
I imagine by the end of the month.
power.
Have it?
Yeah.
How long?
I think there were some big
I
trees down around us. We had like
pick
Little
up
brand.
skid steer and set it in
Fire.
place.
Oh, fire.
They'll be ready to go.
He's not there.
Pre-assemble.
Yep.
Sweet.
So there might be like
That's them doing
pieces we
it.
have to put together, something like
lasted.
the major component kind of bolt in, but
I would
other than that,
If that, I don't even know.
Sitting down and
Again, my only question
Even better.
what kind of
What about the llamas? When would we get the llamas?
is there guarantee?
the farmer we were it was intent about contacting us.
I just
So the exhibit's ready. The alpaca enclosure's ready.
That's really strange because we're gonna buy them, right?
Yeah, we were gonna tour the farm and get it,
that close.
buy some alpacas, and yeah, I don't know if there's something come up with his business or what.
What is
Yeah.
further?
Oh, alpacas, not llamas.
Yeah,
Okay,
Because if they wondering,
llamas are mean. I've heard. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was like
hooves,
it
yeah.
didn't hit as bad.
Llamas are nice.
Like
So what's Plan B? Do we have another alpaca dealer?
someone I
I'm gonna go shop around.
Yeah.
Right off.
See, there's got to be more.
Shouldn't be hard to find somebody willing to sell you a couple alpacas.
Yeah, anybody that breeds them only breeds them to sell them or for wool. So I don't think.
I like it.
And we may have to look into like Illinois or something. We may have to expand out. But we'll find it.
Good.
because I
That'll be a fun one.
Soundproof.
Oh, I'm sure.
Were you there
But
Do we have more
for that meeting?
beer markets this summer than last year?
Yep.
It wasn't in that
Five.
big,
Gonna run it in October.
whatever they call it, the bin silo.
Yeah.
That really sounds like it makes sense.
We're gonna run all the way into
Another-
so.
That's great. That's the perfect time for it. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You-
I don't know.
After that, they had that
They're already in the calendar.
beer fest time, and I was like, I don't want to stay, and then they convinced me to stay.
Yeah, usually the one in June.
That one.
Usually have one
Yeah,
in June, right?
Totally. I don't even drink beer.
Thursday.
And that was
Thursday, so we'll have a.
like, I was like, that was my first.
We have a budget, a board meeting.
Absolutely,
The
Tradition.
beer garden.
absolutely.
What about our sound installation ideas? Have we?
We're still trying to figure out what we do in there. It's
And I do it.
I don't know how.
most of the companies,
They did last year. They did it like 3 or 4 times.
so we're trying to figure out
That
what we
this year,
do
we're gonna do it that much.
to install it.
I say you
Um,
have arts and craft people make us quilts and we hang
Yeah,
on
it was-
the walls.
I ordered a
It might not be a bad idea.
beer. I'm like, oh, I'll
We
take this.
give it a try.
My
The,
wife ordered.
the
other-
biggest thing is we've got to be able to
I take a
fasten
sip.
it.
I'm like, I don't like that.
What do you do to cow magnets?
It's
I don't know. She
yeah.
took one sip. She didn't like hers. We switched. I was like, this is what I want.
Cow magnets.
Like that's what I was thinking.
There are
That was
probably
thinking.
clubs out there who quilt.
Oh yeah,
We could work in collaboration for some sort of effort together.
Yeah.
Well, have you been in?
but that would deaden it for sure.
Yeah.
And you put one, skip one, put one, skip one, go
I've been inside.
enough to knock it down.
Put them up high so people don't steal them.
Yeah, I would say part of the big thing too is we've got to figure out how to stop.
You'd have to be able to get them down too to clean them. There
Yeah.
probably could be a dust magnet.
Yeah.
I did.
Low.
Dude,
I'm still thinking hated sheets.
So it's like
standard.
crystal clear.
I did find a company that makes
We're talking. It's like,
sound isolating sheets
Very
and
hard.
so that they can hang up and stand up.
but it's like
So I was thinking order some of those and give them those,
you know Dave talking
like isolate a corner and see how it does
a couple times with
in a spot.
Yeah.
And then go from there because we can get those colored and stuff like that, and then we can do
couldn't hear anything.
the decorative stuff, either lower or higher.
The weird
like where we
thing.
want to put like the commercial grade stuff. Yeah, it's really just a matter of figuring out how to work with the cylinder. That's a dome.
It's like living in an A-frame.
Yeah.
It's really cool until you want to hang something on.
Good.
Yeah.
Sounds really good until you turn the music
No,
on.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I did.
So the babies are crying.
Yeah.
Uh,
Most importantly, is the restroom sign up now?
Wayne
We're waiting on the ground to get
reached out to me, and I'm like,
but we have it.
not really in a
We have the sign.
Waiting on the.
right now.
The ground to get cloppable because we're gonna
Right.
the footer.
I don't know. I
Oh, it's not going above the door.
No,
No, it's
gonna
gonna.
stand
don't know
on.
if I want to
Oh, so you can
Yeah.
see it.
It's a
Makes sense.
6
or
foot
go do
like,
something
a high sign.
like
Ooh,
So it's
Better.
if anybody can't,
but then I don't know. I might hate it.
we made it big enough.
And what you know,
I wanted a sign by God.
it's always
The idea.
But then Brookdale should be done too.
You have to stay. You have to stay.
Yeah. So did you get all your rest of your mulch delivered?
It should get delivered tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's done.
Well, and then the other thing that
Yeah, they
Hang
tried to do the
like
playground in
that loan forgiveness thing,
Sunset today.
Oh, did they really? How wet was it?
and it's like that wouldn't hold
No.
back people like
Uh,
do.
They call
Like, dude, you're like
comfortable. He could
You're almost 6.5
still
Right.
water sitting in that.
to that 10 years.
Like, yeah, if they're worried about it,
Just
they-
finish that out, and then you
it's
don't
it's not.
get all those months.
Did we get the
Start.
out of the
And I don't know. So I think it's something we're going to work on next week. Now that
How much?
we're pretty much buttoned up on grid.
we've got like a small backhoe, don't we?
Yeah, we've got some.
The skid steer should be able to get it too. So.
We got to get the skid steer fixed though. Now, 'cause
Oh no.
It took a
I think people try to make bridge work, but I think it's supposed
Ooh,
that you
overworked it.
I had just
time. So it's like
We know why.
they
so
say that,
gotta be
and it's
something
like
most like
technical.
electric.
I think one of the problems is like the
Replace the alternator. Check the
no one's double checking your
stuff like that. When something's not.
what you're actually
Yeah.
making. Well, what I'm saying is like
That sucks.
you
Yeah,
buy
we still got the track.
tax
Better,
as
better
a
code and-
vendor because it's part time,
and those should be.
and you say that I made I got the 45,000 from the public
And
vendor,
it's got a
110 or more thousand from my private.
Don't forget that civil engineering class. I don't know what kind of equipment.
If the department
They have
of loan people knew that you said that, they would be like, you don't
the
qualify
top
for
two.
the program, but they
Is that Kevin?
people that aren't like you maybe have.
Yep.
Yeah, I was talking to him the other day. We've been trying to
You always
figure out
lie.
they can-
All right. We can go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thanks for coming, everybody. Just a reminder for our scribes and note takers, if when addressing the board, if you come up to the front table so we can get a good clear audio recording, I'd certainly appreciate it. So, Jake, who's here?
All right. Brian Wiseman,
I'm here.
Carl English,
I too am here.
Bob Durantz.
Here.
Harry Pearson.
Here.
Brian Kubel.
Here.
All right.
I won't bore you with the president's message because every month I say we've set a new record, and I think we've done it again this month. But we'll let the reports rectify that. We have minutes from February and March that were submitted. Do we have any additions or corrections on either one of those from anybody?
I did not see any.
I didn't see any. I motion that we accept both February and March minutes.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any discussion? There being none. Jake?
All right. Brian Wiseman,
Yes.
Carl English,
Yes.
Bob Durantz.
Yes.
Harry Pearson,
Yes.
Brian Kubel.
Yes.
All right. And that brings us to our legal mind.
Well, Dave makes sure to time being able to read bids to everybody. I think that's what he does every single year, and so that you can get all the glory of putting out the bids to everybody. So he did that last month for me, but I'm going to talk him into letting me do some of the stuff we have coming up. But the only legal news that the only legal update that we have for this month, I think that we need to talk about is the Presbyterian Church issue. Is we had a meeting scheduled. Dave really can't work with anybody over there who's not an attorney, because there's in other circumstances we know that they're represented by counsel. So it's not the board who meets and discusses things can't necessarily then communicate directly with the attorney without their attorney being involved in that conversation. So we're trying to hunt that down so we can go forward because we're interested in running that down. But we were unable to do that since the bids last month in March to get a specific person on the phone. And some of that might be the Presbyterian Church would prefer not to get the attorney involved. But we would need confirmation from that, or we'd need to turn it over to people who aren't attorneys to be able to, have the discussion with the Presbyterian Church. And other than that, I think that is all that I was specifically told. And hopefully, as summer comes up and maybe have some of the meetings out there with the beer garden, we were just discussing that. I'm going to make sure that I'm here for them.
It's become a tradition.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, thank you very much. Committee reports. Actually, I'm going to start with marketing education. I went a few weeks ago. I was invited to Indiana Department of Environmental Management Partners for Clean Air Coalition meeting in a separate role from here. And once I got in the meeting, I realized that the parks needed to be involved in that program. By the time I got done, they had, well, they would love to have the Porter County Parks and Recreation as a member of that coalition and would love to have us do a presentation on our programming and projects at one of their meetings. So I've kind of told Jake presentation and programming. I have some information from them, give that to marketing and education. And for the next couple of weeks, if you guys can come up with some sort of suggestion for the board. And then, because there's different levels, obviously with different levels, there's different financial obligations. So if you guys come up with one that you think would be best for us as a board, then if you give that to me, then we will, and Brian, then budget, we'll go over that and see where it works in and how we can do it.
What's the organization, Brian?
It's the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, and it's their Partners for Clean Air Coalition. They do a lot of scholarships, education, and outreach, and some of their members are Drive Clean Indiana, BP, Cleveland Cliffs, Porter County Health Department's on it, NIPSCO, let's see, Railcats are on it, NERPC's part of it. I think as we're going forward, we're starting to broaden our footprint in Porter County and in Northwest Indiana. These are some of the organizations we're going to need to work with. Additionally, as we are moving forward with broadening our footprint, as far as parking and trails and things like that, there are potentially some options or availability for grants to help us put in like car charging stations and things like that. So I think it's something we just need to explore a little bit further. And like I say, I'll give you guys the information that I've got from them, come up with a recommendation and pick it up the budget and see where we can work it in. And then by next month, we can come up with some strategy and how to move forward with that. If that's all right with the board.
It's a great idea.
All right. Since we're on marketing and education, we'll start off with you guys for committee reports.
Well, my bank told me that the escrow received my tax bill. I haven't received that in the mail yet, and I'm looking forward to it for the first time ever. I can see our Porter County Parks and Recreation flyer. Has anybody received their tax bill, property tax bill in the mail yet?
Today, so.
I don't know when those mailed out or if they have yet, but I know we did everything that they asked us to be included in that. And I haven't received a final number count or an invoice from that company to pass on in terms of what the final dollar amount is. But I'm looking forward to getting that in the mail, knowing that the whole county is going to be getting it. So that should be this month, I would think, here in April.
Yeah, I think they just finalized Friday.
Okay.
So everything probably started getting mailed out this last Monday. So here over the next 2 weeks, everyone should be getting them.
Today when I get home.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Says the man from the assessor's office.
That's right. So yeah, that's exciting. Hopefully we get a whole lot of guys on our programs and our website. Maybe do we have an ability on our website to track the number of visitors and what they're clicking on? Any idea?
We have a metrics to track that on the back end of it to see where like link clicks and page views and stuff like that.
There
I know we used to.
without question, there should be a spike in the days after that hits the mailbox as everybody clicks that QR code. It would be really, wouldn't it be, in terms of that investment?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it's a reasonable investment for sure, but what does the real outcome look like in terms of numbers? So that would be something that
We certainly check. If we get a base number from last month, then we'll check it again at the end of this month.
Okay.
Robert, is that a one-time thing, like one-time mailing?
I believe so.
I wasn't sure if we can do it again. We could divide that.
That'd be once in the spring, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just one time in the spring.
Just
Yeah.
one time in the spring. And if it's something that we felt like got some good traction, then hopefully
Do
we
it
can
again.
do it again.
Well, because you send out valuations in August for next year's tax bill, so I mean, there are other maintenance that go out in mass that we could probably piggyback on.
That would be
Yeah.
Do it twice, because then you're doing the winter lights and all the other stuff that goes on the back.
Yeah.
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 So that would be the assessor's office sending the valuations out, or
That I have to check. I don't know if them or the treasurer send that one out, but either way, I mean, our office, the auditor's office, certifies everything and then sends it out or is ready by August 1st, and then they send out your tax notice for the following year. So you can hit them again in August.
Might feel bad about the tax notice. Get a pamphlet with it.
If you're mad, go take a walk.
We got a great read. Do we have an update on the Sunset Hill sign, marquee sign?
I don't have one that's any different than what I had last month, unfortunately. I know what they're doing now is getting the final design approved through planning development. And then at that point, we're just waiting on the ground to be able to handle the skid steer without doing too much damage. When I was talking to Steiner, we're probably going to look at, in the next month or so, construction will start on that. Once the ground's not so wet, there won't be a whole lot of damage. We're going to do some damage, but we're trying not to rut.
Not to bury the equipment.
Yeah, and then Jackie has submitted the application to NIPSCO for them to come out and look at getting his power out to it. So if we will time all that at the same time, where as construction starts, I can tell NIPSCO right to the back end of where that sign's going to be. And there's power along that stretch,
Right.
so it shouldn't be too bad. Big American water station right there, and a power line coming across the road, coming down, 500 feet away. So shouldn't be too bad. I don't imagine it's going to cost as much as what it was going to cost to run electric to the campground, because that they draw across the road with the substation and a 200 amp box and a full meter. So it shouldn't be anywhere near that 65,000 that was. So, but NIPSCO will give me a price. They'll tell me what I'm going to pay, I guess. So, but we should have that soon.
Yeah, that's a big one for marketing. So you think by this summer that'll be
It should be.
Up.
Yeah, it should be up by the summer. So
turned on?
hopefully, that'll be NIPSCO's
Yeah,
timeline.
they got their hands full right now.
They're
Yes, they do.
so ideally we'll have it up in time to where we can start advertising like the beer gardens and summer events and stuff like that on it. I wouldn't necessarily say optimistically June 1st, but sometime June, July, I think the sun will be on. So that's the goal. We've done most of the permitting, so that should be the longest of it. Construction, once it starts, won't take long. That'll be quick. It's just a matter of getting the weather and the rest of the process done.
That's all I had, Brad.
All right. Well, staying in the middle of the board here, how about master plan?
Well, we spent a good deal of time focusing on all that information about where we've been. So I sent to Harry and Jake a document about as a collaboration space where we can start wrapping our head around. We know where we're going to be at the end of this year with all of our projects. We've got so many of them. So as we approach the beginning of the next 5-year master plan, what do we want to do? So relative to everything we've accomplished, what do we want that master plan to look like? So when we look at all of our parks, just start brainstorming it, and I'll share the entire board so we can all consider what do we want to achieve and improve and add to our parks in the next 5-year set. What's that vision look like? Right, we've accomplished so much, so we've got to look back pretty well organized. What's that look forward look like now? So I think as a board and as a staff, we consider where we're at. What are the big things that we want to aim for and include in that master plan to reach for? So I'll share that document with everybody, and I think we all need to start wrapping our head around that and aim real and aim high and all those things for a master plan and see what we can accomplish in the 5 years.
Absolutely. All right.
On that note, just me putting some old conversations together and just the mention of the beer garden. I think something, we're doing all these improvements to parks and, opening new parks. And now, the next 5 years, what are we going to do to bring people to the parks with events like a beer garden or, like a pop-up farmer's market or something at all these different places, serve different areas of Porter County too, not just that, Sunset Hill, even though, it's central and it's close for a lot of people, but, maybe, a beer garden at a different place at Brink Across Garden or somewhere else where it serves that community too, and then brings people to check out a different park.
Great point. Great ideas. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's see. How about maintenance and land use?
Maintenance, I think they're probably messing with some trees. I know they're working on a Hawk Ridge, doing the fence, cleaning that up, and getting the stone down. Getting more stuff, more mulch for the playground areas. That's going to be coming in, getting that finished at Brookdale and also at Sunset. And then land use, it's the same stuff going on. 700 House. Still talking with the folks at the Presbyterian at the Hockey Key. The bathroom has been submitted for Sunset Hill. Now that's become something that needs to be permitted, so we're working on that. I think that's probably about it.
I can't keep.
Yeah.
It's Homeland Security again, right?
It's
Homeland Security for our bathroom.
So this is there's the state level. The state, they have it in the state health department. It has a portion of where they oversee these types, restrooms. They oversee restrooms that get put in throughout the state. And I was working with the environmental director for the Department of Health because this is the first one going in as far as the county and putting one in. There's no real. We had to look through it ourselves, and so we looked through it and found some verbiage that the way we read it, it sounded like it didn't need state approval. And then he actually had a phone call with somebody in the Department of Health from the state level, and they reassured him, no, they do have to approve it. So, because it goes back to Homeland Security, a Department of Homeland Security controlled facility, which is basically any public facility. Department of Health has to approve those restrooms going in at those. So there's a special application for it. It's not terribly big. I've been talking to John about it. We have to do a site plan with an engineer, landscape architect stamp again. So we have to do another site plan for the amphitheater area with the bathroom on it. And then I've got to have Huff Cut stamp the engineer drawings for the submittal, which that's not going to be a big deal. I do have a color sheet that I'm going to pass out. These are as close a colors as I can match stained wood to bumblebee pollen for the Sherwin-Williams color code.
Is that what's on the bumblebee pollen? Is what on the amphitheater?
No, it's just stained natural wood.
Okay. Yeah.
They don't have that color in Sherwin-Williams catalog, so I'm trying to match any random yellow and brown. The roof's going to be forest green. That one,
yeah, that was
sure. I'm actually going to take that out to the amphitheater. I've got an appointment with them tomorrow, which I'll get into here in a minute.
Just hold it up.
Yeah, I'm just going to hold that up to the amphitheater and be like, which one blends the best?
Take pictures and they give you a different point, different vantage point on it.
It's just hard to tell unless you have
yeah.
comparison.
But we found out, so we do have to do an application. We have to get new side notice plan, stamp, submitted. There's a fee, of course. Once they stamp it, then I can work back. Got it.
What's the time cost on this? How far is that pushing us back?
I don't think it's going to take that long. The state didn't actually take very long to approve the amphitheater plans. They had it within 2 or 3 weeks, I think, for the amphitheater. So they do tend to move pretty quick. And this is the same model that a lot of the state parks are using. We put 4 of these up at Dunes. They're putting one in Jasper for last summer. So they see this plan on a regular basis. So I think as long as all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, it should go pretty quick. But it was just a hurdle I didn't expect.
So that's all I have.
That's it?
That's it.
All right.
I've been sitting on my hands.
Well,
what can I tell you?
I guess we want to work the seating of Kiki into budget.
Yeah, that was one I didn't know if that was going to be land use or budget, because it's kind of both.
How do you want to? Ryan, how you want to do budget personnel with the?
I guess there is a giant budget request in the packet.
Yeah.
I guess there's a giant budget request in the packet.
Yeah, in here somewhere.
Two of them. There's the vote.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the, if we approve the transfers, that's what.
So why don't we? Yeah. When we go through the appropriation part of it now, and we'll have Ryan comment on appropriations as we go through it. You understand the numbers?
All right. So there is, and I did preliminarily send this to Joy and County Council because the date to have it submitted was 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Well, all things are always pending board approval, so we can always pull it back. They don't like it when you submit late. But so the first one, the first two actually are in the park capital. So the first request, the 115,000, is into other equipment. So that is just the continuation. That's to cover the electric that we're going to need out that sign. And then as well as a significant portion of that is Akiki based. It's basically entirely Akiki's portion of the Pine Township money. Is that 115,000. So that'll appropriate the bulk of that back, so we have it ready to use when we can start on certain things, and then as well to cover the electric for the sign when we get to that point. The $10,202.37 into consulting. That is to cover the cost of the consulting fees for what will inevitably be the Brookdale Stormwater Permit Review to Plan Commission, and then the vault restroom permitting and site plan. So that's just to give us some cushion to make sure we've got funds ready to go for those. And then the next two are the dedicated Akiki fund. And then working with Ryan, we put 100,000 into landscape restoration, which is what we'll use to actually hire somebody out to work the ground, get it ready for seeding, and to purchase the seed that is in the quote or in the packet, and then have it seeded.
Have what seed?
Akiki, the first 22 acres. So that bottom south third, basically.
Okay, so we took that out of.
We took it out of the crop rotation this year, and we're gonna turn it all to green space, and start getting at least a canvas that we can start working on out there. And then that will put us far enough into it that we can still use the ag lanes to come in and out of it with equipment as we're doing work out there, as we continue to work through with the First Presbyterian Church on easement stuff like that.
So this is the northern half of it that butts up against the
Southern half.
The
southern half.
The southern half.
Yeah. That bounces up next to the.
So it's the
I thought the church was on the southern. My bad.
Yeah.
I got my direction.
Yeah.
So it's that portion of it, and Carl's already went to the farmer. He knows.
Yeah.
He's gonna put a line.
We'll let him decide the line. We're going to let him do 42 acres, and what he decides that is, then that's where we stop.
And then we'll see the rest. And it's about 22,000 all in. It's 4,400 to hire out the guy to do all the work with the equipment and the time. And then for the seed,
Just right.
yeah. And this is, it's not quite 22,000 because this quote is the way their system works. We had them give us an estimate for 2 grasses and organic fertilizer to compare. We'd recommend going with the advanced height one. It's more drought resistant and grows well in full sun without irrigation at first. We're going to want something that'll hold moisture a lot better. And then talking to some companies around, Matt Brown, Matt Z's been doing, they don't recommend the fertilizer at first. Maybe as a post applicant, do some fertilizer, but because of the soil down there, the fertilizer is not really going to stick just yet. So but that's what that part of that $100,000 would go for. And then as we continue to be able to do stuff out there, we can use that funds for under that landscape restoration. If we're able to, depending on how this goes in the next few months, start working that first pond in there, start getting stormwater drainage put in, start getting the swales and the dry pond to the wet pond, how deep we end up going on that.
We don't need to do any terraforming before we put grass seed.
No, because the length of time from when any agricultural herbicide or pesticide was used is greater than 6 months. It's no longer present in the soil. So the terraforming that we're going to do is someone's going to come in with a disc it all up, grade it, basically flip the soil, and then they're going to. I actually have Matt's email because he a little more. Oh, here we go. And then what they will do, what they'll drill and or slice seed. So they'll drill into the ground to plant the seed, or slice seed. So they'll go over two different directions as they do the install. And so that's what Cat Soft Farm in Prep is the one that provided that quote for us.
I know Ryan Katz.
So yes, that's all the work. So that's about $4,400 for them, and then about $11,500 for the seed. So about $16,000 to get the first 22-ish acres turned into grass, which at least gets us a start. They can see it's no longer all field at that point, and then we can start working from there.
Chip away.
It gets it in the right direction. And then the other 42,000 is into consultants. That is to continue working with John and the Duke group on new engineered documents, site plan, up-to-date engineered documents, and as well as if we're able to get to that point where we've got access for real development, permitting, and all that stuff through the state. We'll have to go a certain amount of that will have to go to the state because that drainage does go towards the higher ditch. So we do have to have state's approval for that part where the pond and an entrance coming off of their parking lot going through. We'll need state permission to drain into their ditch. So we'll have to do some state permitting with that, as well as some local level permitting. So that just gives us enough funds that if we can get to that point this year, we don't have to wait.
So you're just asking to transfer the money from our fund to an operating fund to be able to use it?
So this is a usable fund, but it was never appropriated. So it's in its own dedicated fund. We can spend out of that fund, but we have to appropriate it for use, just like we do the operating budget every year.
Okay.
As we bring in revenue, it sits there until the board and the council appropriate it. And so this is just us appropriating the funds that we grew crop leasing, and that's how this fund was funded, was crop lease.
Okay, so do we need a motion to approve all these
Yes.
appropriations?
Yep.
Individually, or can we do it in a pile?
It's up to the board if you want to do them individually. Brian, would your office suggest individually, or is
Whenever it's an appropriation, we suggest doing them individually. If they're transfers, you can group them together, but appropriations, so be it.
well, let's do it that
Answers
way.
the question. So I recommend that we allow the appropriation for the first 115,000. Motion to do that.
I'll second it.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? There being none. Jake?
Brad Meisen,
Yes.
Carl English,
Yes.
Bob Durantz,
Yes.
Harry Peterson,
Yes.
Ryan Kubel.
Yes.
We have a motion for the second appropriation, $10,212.37.
I'll make a motion for this second appropriation on the list, $10,212.37.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second that motion.
We have a second. Any discussion? There being none. Jake?
Brad Meisen,
Yes.
Carl English,
Yes.
Bob Durantz,
Yes.
Harry Peterson,
Yes.
Ryan Kubel.
Yes.
All right. The third one was out of fund number 4918 for an even $100,000. We need a motion for that appropriation.
Brian, I'll motion that we appropriate $100,000 for that landscape restoration.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I will second that motion.
We have a second. Any discussion? There being none. Jake?
Brad Meisen,
Yes.
Carl English,
Yes.
Bob Durantz,
Yes.
Harry Peterson,
Yes.
Ryan Kubel.
Yes.
All right, and the final one on my sheet of out of Fund 4918 for $42,732.87. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Any discussion? There being none. Jake?
Brian Weisen,
Yes.
Carl English,
Yes.
Bob Durance,
Yes.
Harry Peterson,
Yes.
Brian Kubel.
Yes.
All right. You spent a lot of money. What was our budget?
We just moved a lot of them.
Technically, we only moved it.
We haven't spent it yet. Moved it for potentials.
We're building a park.
To
Now,
be able to
Do we
spend
make a motion to go
I
with
yes,
this?
probably should.
Okay.
Yeah, because
For the seating.
yeah, for,
So on
since it's
this grass,
Do you want to
it was either this or this.
yeah, so it's just the middle line.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
do we want to do the full, or do we want to
I would just approve the.
approve of anticipation of later on, or basically you want it done right now like this?
I would just do it right now like this, like they recommended without the fertilization, because we can always just go back and buy it if we need to, if we start to think we're having issues with it. But I would just do seed and then 4,400. I actually have the email with us.
So what's the number you want for to go?
So it'll be
15905.
yeah, so it'll be the 1105 and then 4,400.
15905. All right. I'd like to make a motion that we allow Jake to spend $15,905 for advanced turf solutions to put some grass at Aukie Keys.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that?
So we'd be purchasing it from Advanced Turf Solutions, and then Cats would be.
And then they would install it. Yeah, they would apply it for us. Yeah, and that's a specialty seed that's meant to hold moisture. So it's meant to grow in droughts.
Okay.
So, and that may be a risk down there. So without irrigation here, anyways.
You had mentioned Cats, but I didn't see it on here. But I just.
So yeah, I could send I'd have an internal email from Matt Brown that described the process and it has headshot on it with their. Yeah, and they would do all the work and then.
Yeah.
They're out of Hebron. Cats. Do I have the right Cats?
Yeah, Hebron, Boone Grove,
Yeah.
Porter. Yeah.
In
Yeah.
county.
Okay.
Yeah, in county.
Yeah.
Also.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they probably know that land.
Know the land well. You're investing Porter County dollars. Porter County.
Right on.
All right, motion and second. Any further discussion? There being none. Jake?
Brian Weisen,
Yes.
Carl English,
Yes.
Bob Durance,
Yes.
Harry Peterson,
Yes.
Brian Kubel.
Yes.
Now we spent some money. Now how's our budget?
Now we
I'll tell you when to stop.
I don't see anything in personnel. Working towards all our counselors hired, trained up, and ready to go for June.
yeah, that
In the
and,
process of.
that and labor positions, housekeeping, resource techs. So
How did spring break camp go?
Well,
Good. Wait. Awesome.
We had mandatory outside time every day.
Nice.
Does that mean go play?
Was that for their benefit or yours?
A little bit of both.
How did you end up busing them?
So we went through first charter.
Okay.
They were awesome. They were super easy to work with. They have pretty strict qualifications for their drivers. Our driver was great. Got us there safely and on time, and we successfully took 30 kids to Fair Oaks, and I wrangled in Matt, Jackie, and Mel to have extra hands on that day.
That's awesome.
It was a good day.
Good.
Good job.
Outstanding. Well done. Thank you.
I guess with all these new programs and camps, we should probably talk about our accessibility enhancements.
jump right into that.
Yeah.
So in the packet, it's a lift for improving ADA accessibility for our wagon rides. Yeah, we would like to pursue one of those. We've talked about it, I think, for a couple years now, just about. I think conversations had started last year, and I think this year we actually have money that we could buy it with and pursue it. So yeah, so we would like to pursue purchasing or purchase a mobility lift, chairlift for one of our wagons, and then we'll figure out. Matt and Matt were working on like how we might both fit one into one of the wagons. Were you guys able to look at one of the wagons, see how it might work, or?
We did. We measured it out. And then, I don't know, did you get that other option of the wagon pre-built?
No, I don't know. I don't think I've
Yeah,
seen that.
so I found some additional guys out in Pennsylvania that make NIPA, because our wagons are a little short, and we'd be losing a lot of space installed. So I did some research on some companies in Pennsylvania who make wagons 20 feet long with a lift already applied, and they do the lift to Valparaiso. So I had sent Matt around that quote, and I thought he said we might manufacture stuff in McPresser. Well, it was a little additional. I think it was just over 12,000
For the whole thing.
For the wagon with the thing installed?
And oh, well, can I just change my request to?
Well, yeah, if you could fish that quote up really quick, I think because that makes more sense, right? You get it, it's brand new.
Yeah. No, that would be a lot easier.
As far as installing it ourselves with a lithium battery, there's a charging port, there's all these things where the cart from Pennsylvania would have that all pre-installed, and so it would just be a direct plug-in.
Right.
Set
up.
You might not be able to go through all the paths just with the additional length and width, but as far as giving them the opportunity to enjoy the wagon ride,
Right.
100% covers all that criteria.
Great.
Okay.
Is that on the side accessibility, the back,
The rear.
in the rear?
Steps going up,
Mm-hmm.
there'd be a lift right next to it.
Both.
Awesome.
Both. Fantastic.
Get it whatever colors you want.
Could I just ask for like a cap of 14,000 to spend on that and keep it under budget?
We're gonna have to put an additional appropriation for that, or do we have it in operating?
We have 15,000 in capital outlay of equipment in our operating fund.
And that gives us an entirely new additional wagon.
Yes.
You still have your smaller one. Now you got a bigger one.
My one.
You got a fleet.
Exactly, and it would we wouldn't have to be so worried about this. Like today, we had the example.
94 kids at the park today, because they were supposed to. Sorry, Matt, not to interrupt you, but they were supposed to come yesterday, which obviously that wasn't working. So the teacher was like, "I can only make it happen if you all come today." So I went to maintenance and I was like, "Can we do it? We normally max out at 75." And then so yeah, I mean they were all on and they were all on safety, but that was my first thought too, was if we do put and like, I mean I want to play more than anybody because it's me that that's out there, the kids or us, sorry, not me. But losing all that space, I don't know what we would do.
In that instance, yeah.
Yeah.
So what all do we use? So Meet the Animals, we have a wagon thing. What else do we use the wagon for?
For our field trips.
Field trips.
For this original, I was talking to Jake and Jackie about it. The need for a wheelchair ADA accessible, it's a need every year when school groups come. We do have students with multiple chairs. The only way to get off the bike right now is 4 stairs or 3 stairs, and just I feel like we're not serving the community correctly, and also quite frankly it's embarrassing for us when the teacher says, "Okay, so the child's in a wheelchair," and I go, "We're gonna try to get him on the wagon, maybe."
Yeah.
Or they have to miss out on the wagon ride.
Right.
And we see thousands of kids every season for field trips. I know they're not as like big ticket items as camp is, as far as like money wise, but I think it's one of the most important things.
Absolutely.
Do we use them for NIPA or hay rides or
Exactly.
what else?
Yeah. So apart from field trips, we use them for Meet the Animals. We use them trunk or treat, and then for camp, we use them every Friday at camp.
Yeah.
All the kids on the wagon.
And then nip on top of that.
Yeah.
So
I just looked up the invoice. I'm sorry, my numbers are wrong.
Oh, don't you dare.
It was 14,290.
Okay.
So
Well, my
you're still covered.
15,000
Okay.
That was still within range.
Yeah. The 15 grand's good.
you have a picture of it?
I have, yeah. I have,
We'll just use this as the proposal, if you don't mind bringing that up.
I mean, if you want.
You started this, brother.
That's why we have them.
Yes, Lance.
I can attest to the 4 times you use it because we see them back at our place.
Yep.
Of those occasions.
Right.
Yeah, we see them at our place. Yeah, also trunk or treat.
Right.
Yeah, sure, it's not bad at all.
Hey Matt, when you get back, can you screenshot the photo and send text?
Yeah, just if you can, to Jake and
I sent all the mail with every number.
Because there was a 5
Yeah, he's the your voice.
that's a grand idea.
No.
It's up to the board. Certainly not going to say no to it.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Yeah,
I mean, we do.
I can imagine what
For a couple thousand more for something.
you want to see it, Colby.
And
It's just the
is this a
invoice.
request?
Oh, it's just the invoice.
Yeah. That's why I said I want to see the actual.
Yes.
You're not.
I thought circulating pictures of the thing.
Yeah,
So I want to.
Thank you very much. Legal.
And it's-
Accounting. I don't need
Well-
to see
it's under.
Well,
I mean-
I would like to make a motion that we appropriate the funds to purchase that ADA accessible wagon.
Where's the
I'm
motion?
we buy 2.
It's not exceed the 15,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting. I second the motion to allocate the funds to purchase this ADA accessible wagon.
We have a motion. We have a second discussion.
If we had it.
We always do it back.
What is it?
We do.
All right, Brian Wiseman,
Absolutely.
Carl English,
Yes, please.
Bob Durantz,
Yes.
Harry Peterson,
Yes.
Brian Kubel.
Yes.
Buy ourselves a wagon.
All right. Anything else under budget that I'm missing? I think that's all of our committee reports. So, well, how about our staff report?
Well, we've hit most of it now. So. Cindy, do you want to talk about the Brink Across work that's going on, or do you want me to start and then kind of hand that over to you? All right, so there's been a lot of work going on at Brink Across in collaboration with the Park Foundation. So we've been doing a lot of work on Daffodil Hill, the Butterfly Garden, this whole prairie, as well as a lot of hazardous and dead tree removal that we do on the trails. We have a lot along our major trailheads and around the house. So that work is continuing. The inside light update, I believe, is completed or vastly completed. We're able to open the building back up. And from what I've heard, it is night and day difference on the lighting improvement in there. So that's good to hear. So a lot of good work going on at Brent Cross, working with Linda and Danielle on some more grants. One is for those tree removals to offset some of the costs associated with that, and then other grants for the picnic shelter that we're going to put out there to cover that.
What's our time frame on that?
It'll depend on what we find out from Porter County Community Foundation. If we get 10 grand from them, because then we'll have 20 grand to go towards the shelter, which is an all-in cost of about 39 or 29,000. And then we've got the concrete, so we still have about 20,000 to still kind of raise or offset. But we're getting there. And then we got the building permit for the new shelter by the animal exhibit. There's a request for just the ADA lift. There's the stormwater. For the 700 house, we're still just waiting on the plan commission to name the subdivide to make it a legal document, or I guess a transferable document of ownership kind of thing. So I'm going to follow it up with that and follow up with Kevin. The amphitheater road widening will take place in about a week or so, in mid-April.
Wait for weather.
So we're actually, I was talking to Max, the guy I've been working with at Allied Asphalt, and we had talked about making our trails, our parts of walking trails, especially at Aki Key, 10 feet wide, so they can accommodate more usability and emergency access. So in the spirit of that, we went ahead and bumped that out to 10 feet as well. So it'll be more heavy vehicle friendly. So if you do have to back a truck or an ambulance right up to the amphitheater, you can get right back to that location now.
Snowplow.
Yep. So, and then I'll have a stone shoulder, and then once that's set, we'll come back out. We'll do a dirt shoulder and grass it, so the grass will be level with it as well, up to that point. That way, if somebody drives a tire off of it, it doesn't take a chip of the asphalt with it. That'll stabilize the sides of it. And then talking with Flight Levels Entertainment, they are the parent company to Hometown Jams. So I am walking around with, we got to confirm the time, one of those guys tomorrow at the amphitheater, and we're going to talk about some pricing structures and some points and some show scale that we can do out at the amphitheater, especially for like our first performance or like a summer music concert series. And they're a whole tailored front to back company, so they can run the whole thing for us, or they can consult for us on us running it and them kind of being our support expert on it. So they're going to shoot me some different price categories because you can put on, small, medium size performances like a local or regional artist, or maybe even like an up and comer local artist out of like Nashville for between $10,000 and $15,000, and that's with them doing the whole thing kind of stuff. And they provide expertise on like how to make money on it with beer sales and food trucks and ticket stuff. So they provide all that institutional knowledge that we don't have yet. So I'm going to work with them on that. Start working on that first show. Because I want the first show to be a good one. I don't want to flop right out of the gate on a $400,000 investment into Sunset Hill. So I'm going to work with these guys. I'll get some estimates, and I'll Bob and Harry. I'll loop you guys into the marketing committee. Yeah, looking forward to and we'll start going from there.
I was gonna say you might want to reach out to like Lori Daly at the Expo Center. They were big names opening there too. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For the county fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep. Her, and then Tom Wallen on the foundation is actually part of, I believe, the Valpo Events Board. So he works directly with Hometown Jams at these shows, which we won't get these names because these guys have 3-phase and the hookups and everything.
Right.
But we can put on a scale appropriately sized for us. And then working on the beer gardens, we're gonna do them all the way through October this year. So we're gonna add another one. That's gonna be pretty exciting.
What did we do last year? 4 of them?
4.
So 5 this year?
Yep. So
Okay, cool.
we left the October date to be determined last year because we weren't sure if we could find a weekend with a little enough competition and good enough weather kind of thing. So we're actually going to do it the same weekend as Trunk or Treat. We're going to do it the same day. So we'll have it that weekend. So
Kids over here, adults over here.
yeah, so we're gonna actually stagger it so there's only like a 1 or 2 hour, like a 1 hour, hour and a half overlap kind of thing. So as Trunk or Treat starts to fizzle out, we're gonna lengthen Trunk or Treat to hopefully cut back on the grass. Yeah, then all the adults that are tired of running around with kids can run up to the amphitheater for the beer garden, because we'll use the amphitheater area as that. So it'll draw more people out into the rest of the park as well.
Yeah.
We're gonna move beer garden up to the amphitheater.
Sort of that.
For that one event, yeah. For
Yep.
Trunk or Treat.
So it'll be monstrosity, but it'll be interesting.
Oh boy.
We're gonna really test how many cars we can fit in and out of Sunset.
At this one.
Are we gonna be laughing in October?
Probably not.
I'm gonna. That's the October Jake problem.
Oh.
So go with that.
Okay.
It's,
Alright, cool.
yeah, and the programming is starting to ramp up. We had the spring break camp that went well. The field trips are going well. meet the animals. We got that tomorrow. It's supposed to be a nice day tomorrow. It
Supposed
looks
to be
like.
beautiful. Yeah, decent tomorrow.
So imagine
A little sloppy, but
it's good.
Yesterday was beautiful, but there was
mud. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then Becky's programs are showing growth. She actually had one of the art programs hit capacity.
Oh.
Here just the other day.
Awesome.
So we're getting good growth all the way around. And yeah, the guys are hard at work at building all the parks. I keep adding to the stuff to go out there. Hawk Ridge, the big one right now. The stone's down. Work on the fence. The fence row's all cleared out basically at this point. We're going to repair the fence and then paint it.
To match what's that brink up?
Yep. So it'll be identical to brink up. We'll get a sign made. We're trying to figure out how to make maps. We don't have the software that we used to make the old maps anymore, or the person. So we're at scratch from those. Luckily, he stayed long enough to where Sunset Hill is accurate.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure that out. Oh, yep. And we've hired Karen in the office. She is going to help with rentals, office administration, customer service, and things like that. And that's going to give us a real good level of consistency up at the front as far as how we handle rentals and customer service and stuff like that, and getting the information to where it needs to go, so that somebody doesn't get lost in the phone tree. There's always a point person of contact, and that's going to help a lot. So
Good. And Miss Jackie, I seen here that you're continuing for final certification. What's the certification?
It's CPRP, Certified
Parks and Rec
Rec
Professional.
Professional. Yeah.
Fancy.
So
Good for you.
Right
Well, thank you for doing that. It's gonna have to get, yeah. Good.
So-
Thank you very much for doing that.
So that is
Jake
through,
already did it, so I did it. Can't win.
so that is through NERPA, the National Recreation Parks Association. So they are the big name in park standard across the country. So they're a huge advocacy group, a big resource group, they're a big continuing education group, and so they're also the company that you can do like your playground inspection certification through, your water operator certification through. So they're essentially the national standard as far as parks and rec agencies go.
Well, good luck.
I'm gonna need it.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Yeah. Any questions on that? And that's all we got.
How is our summer camp sign up going?
I think we're just about full. I haven't checked yet in a couple of days.
Is it pretty close to full summer camp?
Yeah, so for fun, we bumped it up to 90 instead of 80. So we are full in. So
Yeah, we're all of the weeks of camp are full for the week of like July. We always have like
It's always short.
but the regular day camp is full, and then all of them are also
The little camp too.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Well done.
I think
That's awesome.
Was it 105? 115? 105. So it's 105 kids a week.
We'll continue to say our prayers for you. God bless. I have trouble wrangling too little, so.
That's all the questions I had. Any other questions, Superintendent?
No.
Or the staff? How's our llama and grizzly bears going?
the alpaca guy has yet to get back.
He's still ghosting you, huh?
I don't know. He was really like super helpful in December, and then the new year came, and so I'll reach out again.
I wonder if we ran out of alpacas.
Right now.
So- But I figured we'd shop around too. But at this point,
I think there's another one out east in South Bend way out there, Plymouth, South Bend. I think there's some out there.
yeah, I know there's a couple more. I know if we go into Michigan, Illinois, so
Yeah, I went with this guy because he offered us a farm tour, and I was like, oh yeah.
Perfect.
Then
Ghost.
All right. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to our other partners. Again, remember, when you address the board, if you can do it from the table, that way we catch everybody's voice. And as usual, we'll start with NIPA.
Hello,
Hi Deb, how are you?
Deb Armstrong with the Tractor Club, Northern Indiana Historical Power Association. Pretty quiet this time of year, but we're getting ready to gear up. We had our first membership meeting this past week, and we'll have our board meeting next week, and or next Wednesday, we'll be talking about our budget. We're going to start in try to schedule out building maintenance program. Maybe we'll get some input from Jake on that. Let's see. Our 2025 show will feature the Oliver tractor, which is known as the other green tractor. But we're having the Oliver Gang, which is a regional club. We've been doing that the last several years. Last year we had that national show, so we've been trying to get national clubs or state clubs, regional clubs, to host their gathering at our show. Brings in a lot of people from a little bit farther away. So we're excited about that. Next year, 2026 show will be our 50th anniversary show, which is really exciting. So we're going to have a battle of the brands. Kind of, we welcome all colored tractors. And mine are mostly rust colored. But we're excited about that. So I think we're going to be digging into getting out some historical photos, things like that. So gearing up our webpage for that. We're really interested in your discussion about the wagon. We've been looking to procure a wagon for ourselves too. So maybe we can have some discussion before that's finalized. We've been borrowing Lake County Tractor Club's wagon, which is a liability issue for them. We've tried to tap into the fair boards tractors, but they don't want to borrow those out or lend those out. But we would like to get in discussion about the
Absolutely.
the handicap wagon. Let's see. We had the ABAC group at our last meeting, our board meeting, and they've partnered. I believe it's American Legion. So they hope to have extra hands on deck to be able to do the haunted trails this year. We'll partner with them on that. So that's exciting. We're going to have a plow day. I think it's April 27th, maybe. We'll let Jake know for sure.
Are the haunted trails on foot or wagon as well?
Wagon.
Wagon.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wagon. But yeah, we're planning a plow day for planting and field work and planting this coming up in April. I don't think I have anything else. Do you guys have questions for NIPA? Or,
No, just any of the maintenance stuff. Just make sure you're keeping Jake and
definitely. I think our Jake and your Jake talk quite a bit. So it's been a really good partnership.
Good.
We just are really tickled to still be out there every year and be part of the demonstrations, the crop demonstrations. I think that's an important part of what the park offers. And our show last fall, we did have a lot of people that were there for the first time. And just so many compliments on the park and the facilities. Everybody loves coming to the show there because there's plenty of shade, there's a lot to do, and so it's been a great partnership.
That show is great because it taps into the origins of the park as a farm and keeps that all alive. It's a great partnership.
It does. Education Day, we're reaching out to get a hold of you too. We still have our really good volunteer coordinator that's helped us get plenty of hands on deck. We partnered with Washington Township Key Club and Portage ROTC, and I believe she's had another Purdue Equestrian group and a couple other smaller groups that our volunteer coordinator is working with to get us extra hands on deck. So really exciting. So.
If you need, let me know. And there are groups at Chesterton High School Key Club.
Oh yeah.
NHS, different groups that need service hours.
Sure.
I'm sure would enjoy it because it's right there at home.
Yeah, and I think RJ has been talking to you about the building trades. I know you guys have scheduled out things for them to do, but we have other projects too with building maintenance that we could
No, I think
talk about.
I think they'd be a big asset for some of those projects out there.
Yeah.
Especially if you're replacing supports or roofs entirely. I mean, I think they just did a whole band shell up in Chesterton, I think, and a shelter, a picnic shelter up in.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to partner with them.
We do. We do.
For both just the technical part of it
And the experience.
and the expense.
Right.
Benefits everybody.
Right.
And they're always looking at projects.
Oh yeah. Well, there's plenty between some of the electrical work too. I don't know if their qualifications.
Jake, would they work through you or through Kevin? Or both?
Probably both.
Okay.
Or I can make the initial contact.
Yeah, great.
Kind of thing.
All right. Probably our Jake will be in touch with.
Yeah, if he just wants
We
to.
have a lot of Jake.
Yeah.
We'll have your Jake talk to our Jake. And
Yep. Yep.
I'll send them both Kevin's email.
Right.
So
Gonna get
the
really-
other Kevin is the civil engineer group, and they get access to equipment. So like Bobcats, skid steers,
Right. Let's
tractors, and so if you have
use that's in the conversation too.
so if you've got some concrete work or like heavy machinery, they'd
Yeah.
be interested in helping with some of that.
I think that in our next board meeting, we're going to try to finalize which one we're going to put our efforts in first. But I think it might be the chicken coop, but we've had a lot of talk about that. So roof and siding and
That's the one with the chimney that's got
yeah,
that.
yep, and the trees, yeah. Yep. But it's a low angled roof, so it's not as high pitched as some of the other roofs. So, but all right. Well, any questions? Just keep in touch.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you, Deb.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. How about the railroad?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, fans. How are you?
Wonderful. Wonderful. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Things we got coming up, unfortunately, with the weather looking like it's going to be cooler and raining on Saturday, the moms group reached out to us and they're going to have a much smaller event this weekend than what they anticipated. Plus, it looks like it's going to rain all day on Saturday, which is not very conducive for running. Okay. So we're going to stay in touch with them and hopefully put something together later in the year. I don't know exactly when yet. Imagine when their availability, and of course we're there on Saturdays anyhow. Okay, so that was unfortunate. So we will not be out there this weekend for the Easter egg hunt. April 12th though and 26th we have work dates scheduled coming up. Going to be doing ballasting, just general cleanup, weeding of the area. The 12th and the 26th. And Mr. Durantz, I caught your suggestion. Our Vice President Ray Rutkowski, one of our vice presidents, his daughter Stephanie works at the front desk, and she checked into it. And we'd be looking. We're trying to confirm to get one of the groups at Chesterton to help us out. And the biggest thing they could do is obviously the hauling of the ballast. We're going to bring some more ballast down. Hauling of the ballast, and one of the things we want to do is mark the spots for the railroad ties, to put in. What we're looking to do is just peel back that side, just at those specific spots, put gravel down, get the railroad ties down, but basically mark the spots so that the park, when you folks get together and use the skid steer, you know exactly where you're putting them. Okay? Well, we could use the bodies and the help for that. So, do I need to speak with you or further after this, or who do we need to go to confirm that?
Yeah, so let's talk, and then I can work with our principal and what organizations would be interested in helping out. It might be a team, it might be a group.
Sure. And if not the 12th, because the 12th is coming up on me, it's only a week from Saturday.
Right.
We've got time to do it for the 26th.
Okay, and that's a Saturday?
Yes, sir.
What's the
Yeah,
time?
they're both Saturdays.
What time?
We're looking 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, both days.
teenagers might be up by 10. We'd have a problem if you were before 10 a.m. But
Well,
okay,
we've got some older individuals that getting up them out there by 10 might be rough too. So
you have tools and stuff.
yes, yeah, we
You just need bodies.
we just need bodies.
All right.
Yeah,
So
we
the Chesterton high school football coach had reached out to us and said that their team, they make them do volunteer hours. So you may be able to get some of the Chesterton football team out.
excellent because I've been friends with Coach Peterson from all the years I coached in Chesterton Pop Warner. I've known Coach Pete for a long time.
I'll talk to Mark tomorrow.
If you would please, yeah,
Yep.
and just let him know it's me. It's Lance. He'll know Lance from Pop Warner.
Absolutely. Got it, Lance. All right. I'm on it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Let's see. After that, I will be emailing Jake and Jackie. We've set our schedule for our special events like our Circus Day, Thomas Day, things like that. So I won't belabor bringing them all out now. We usually do like one special day a month, but I can get you that schedule. But at least for the upcoming, for the short term, May 3rd, we're going to call it a soft opening. What it is we'll be operating some of the trains, but still be doing some work out there post, the 26th, Saturday the 3rd. However, May 10th is our official opening day. That's when we're going to have the scenery out there, all the trains running, on the big layout and the small layout. The ones after that, like June, July, August, things like that, we'll go ahead and I'll email it to both of you. We board sat down. We've established all those days. We're also adding in the middle of June. You're all aware of the South Shore Brass Band.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
they love to come out there. Phil Hahn is a longtime contributor to the club, and he reached out to me. And in June on a Sunday, we'll be having them out there. It'll actually be June 22nd. I can tell you already. We're going to have them. I don't know the times yet, but I'll get that confirmed with you. But what they do is they set up the brass band right out there by the layout, perform a concert. We run the trains. They'll do, their songs. They'll do railroad songs. It's a nice gathering, and another group that comes out there that they've asked us before, and it's worked out really well.
Hey, Lance, can we go back to the railroad ties real quick? Do you
Yes, sir.
railroad ties?
We do.
Okay.
They are all out there.
If it's the National Honor Society, they're not moving the railroad ties. The offensive line, probably. If it's the football,
Brought up the football team.
yeah,
There might be a Dallas in the back.
yeah. So it may, if we have
Well-
a football team out there, we may be able to do all of it, not just mark it, but they could physically carry and put the ties in place.
Right. We were anticipating. We didn't know who we might get to help. So definitely, peeling off the side, putting the gravel in, leveling that.
Very least, yeah.
Pretty much anybody can do that. We were going to be relying on the skid steer to at least get them in the rough, at least get them rough spot. And it's not hard
Each
to jot.
8-foot railroad tie, from my memory, is about 200 pounds.
About 200 pounds, yeah.
It gets pretty heavy.
Yeah.
We need two big folks.
Football.
So,
Move those.
so if it's offensive lineman, that's a squat workout.
Right.
I'm an old lineman myself in high school and college.
I can't move them.
Okay, well, good. I'm excited about talking to Mark because we
Great.
could potentially get it all done in one day.
Would you, after this is over, can I give you my direct number? Mark can call me directly too.
Hear my contacts, and I'll let you know what he says.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Really, let's see. Other than that, for everybody involved with Camp Funset, we've talked to our membership, and yes, we're excited about coming out and reestablishing the day that we run trains, whether that's a Friday, Thursday, whatever it is. So, when we mentioned at our last meeting, they said, yeah, we're excited about getting back out there. So when we're doing Camp Funset, especially with all the kids you're going to have out there, we're lining up people to do that. So, what's that? Yep, Angie, yeah, we'll be. What's that?
I'll get your email.
That's fine. We'll coordinate that. We'll do that with me and Karen Sarver. She's our secretary. Other than that, that is it in the short, quick term, okay?
Yep, thank you.
Very good. Yeah, let's get together right after this. Thank you.
Lance. You. All right. How about the Park Foundation? Nothing? Okay. Do we have any public comments? There being none, is there a motion for adjournment?
My motion.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I have it. Thank you, everybody. Get it.
Let's get out of here. Gentlemen.
All right, good stuff.
Hey, Harry. Good luck, sir. Yes. Any minute. Yeah.
Anything.
Update post.
Yeah.
Papa Harry.
Oh, good luck.
Yes.
Yeah, good luck, buddy.
Yeah.
It's an, it's an experience, brother. You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Thank you.
There's people that will hold you up to the watch.
I forwarded that email about the yeah, that's great. So it actually they said it was really
It's not easy anymore.
so I mean
That's awesome.
yeah, it's a good group. I don't know. I can't remember what we took back, but you know, like the story of that. Yeah, partner office. Real nice part. That's all. Okay. Great guy.
It's a good thing for us.
Yeah, her husband on board. So yeah, I don't know. I should be there. I was on the time that for like why don't we should do this? To go do that. Yeah.
Okay. See ya.
See you.
Oh, no. Okay. No, actually,
I have a question for you. Mortgage exemption. Yes, out on the tax bill. Correct.
Oh,
I was like,
I haven't been there for a few years.
I've gone. This is the first one I've met.
So she's talking about paying having a mortgage. So right now we get a mortgage exemption, right? We file homestead.
Yeah. Well, but they.
Go have one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the game.
That's what I love.
It's fun.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right.
paid off and when paid off, it would not affect the taxes.
Cool. That's what she wanted to know.
Okay.
Like, she goes, I'm going to do this. Okay.
Yes.
I have a question. I said, I know the guy.
Yeah. So a couple of years ago, it would have affected it, but the way they changed everything.
Nice.
You guys can do the graphic.
Yay.
You will see.
So I guess I'll be mortgage free.
Okay. So I can help with
A lot of money.
We moved money. We only spent about 15.
What I did.
Authorized was 15. I don't know for the
We can find that out. Here's pictures of that.
Matt sent them too.
That's what I wanted. The actual picture.
The ones like that, Conestoga. I would think that'd be better. That's less.
Yeah.
They can less out. That's really awesome.
That's nice.
Yeah. That we have. Yeah.
Well, not like they hook up, but they actually take space out.
Other kids, right?
I ordered you a nameplate, so you won't be anonymous anymore.
No.
Sometimes it's better to be anonymous.
Oh yeah. But me and Jake, we went through all the budgets and everything. And I know for at least this year, steer clear of the general fund, but I'm gonna have to talk with some guys, Mike Jakes, on water.